When you think Nintendo games, you think Mario, you think Nintendogs, you might even think Pilot Wings. Chances are, however, you won't think Steel Diver, because this submarine shooter, puzzler, time trialer mishmash is a bit of a random title in the Nintendo 3DS lineup, and the only one so far not based on an already successful franchise. So join me, Captain Higgers, as I find out whether this game will make you up Periscope, or whether it will be a dive! Sorry. For a 3DS launch title, in America, it's weird that the graphics and 3D effects were not taken full advantage of for this release. The underwater world is beautiful, with schools of little fishies swimming around, but it's sparsely decorated and most of the textures and surfaces are the same all the way through. Still, you won't be too worried by this though, as your main focus of concentration when you first play Steel Diver will be the odd controls. With 3 different subs to control during the story mode, each with slightly different sizes and abilities, you will need to wrestle with the fact that this game plays a lot differently to any other title you may have played recently.
Ship damaged!
Completely ignoring any of the control sticks or buttons, you must guide your submarine of choice through some beautiful, tranquil, but perilous levels using only the touchscreen, which holds a whole host of buttons, dials and sliders. A word of warning here, you will need to use your stylus to play this, as the touch points on the screen are so small that they just do not respond to finger touches at all, so make sure you don't lose it, otherwise you'll be stuck with a pretty much unplayable game. At first, this is a very tricky game to get the hang of. It plods along at a snail's pace, and the odd control scheme will leave anyone scratching their heads for the first hour or so. And in the beginning, I just couldn't really see the point to it. Then suddenly, I got it. The controls started to make sense, and the game went from fiddly and frustrating to a completely unique and strangely Moorish experience. Judging your sub's trajectory, all the while making minute changes to the speed and depth, is thoroughly satisfying once you get it right. And dodging a falling rock or homing torpedo by inches is heart-pounding stuff when things are moving so slowly. Will it hit? Will it? Ooh! Etc, etc.
Oh, ship damage!
Other cool original touches are dotted around the game, like the way the ship springs a leak when damaged. You will lose control of your vessel until you have plugged the leak on the touchscreen using your stylus. Then there is the Periscope mode, which has its own separate game if you feel the need to play a watery FPS. By using the built-in 3DS Gyroscope, you can physically spin around to find the enemy ships, and although it could make you a little dizzy, it does work rather well. Thankfully, you can also use the touchscreen to change the viewpoint, so you won't have to look too much of an idiot if you decide to play Steel Diver somewhere out in public. There's underwater puzzles to solve, boss battles, and even perks to collect in the form of decals for your sub, which alter things like your speed or strength. But just as you start to really enjoy the game, it ends. After 7 levels, and 2 of those levels will only unlock after you've completed the other levels with all 3 subs. This can get pretty boring as there's not much variety to the levels, and because of this it can feel like a bit of a chore trying to unlock them. Sure, there are short time trial missions and a battleship style turn-based strategy game involved to pad things out, but did the main game really need to be that short? 5 or so extra levels and this would have been highly recommended, but at the moment I would say wait until it drops in price before you snap it up, because there is a great game in here, it's just hard to find, and when you do it doesn't last very long.
All ahead, blank.
Oh, and just one more quick thing before I go. Does anyone else think that the captains of the enemy ships shout mayonnaise rather than mayday when you sink them? Mayonnaise. That's made me hungry. Right, I'm off to get some fish and chips. See ya!